Friends, I can't believe it, but 2016 is almost over. So with that, I felt it important to sit down with you guys and do a bit of a special episode. This, our last new episode of 2016, and our last episode of Season 6 of our show, which has gone on for an incredibly long time. Today, yes, we are going to do a short Ask MotoMan, but more importantly, we're going to give you a glimpse into the future of our show and Season 7, which kicks off in January of 2017. Okay, so let's kick off this special episode by answering your questions, or rather, I should say, question, because I've picked one question that I'm going to answer in this special episode, and I picked it because I feel it is very prudent for the time of year that we are in. So we're in the holidays here, and I know that most people, when they get specifically to New Year's, they like to take stock of their lives, whether it's what led them to the point they are in their life or what they're going to be doing in the future. We're all very profound when it comes to the new year. And I want this to kind of be a reference for us. Like, watch it now and have a think on it now, and then come back to it in a couple of months and kind of see how you're doing. Anyway, the question comes in from a guy that does something really near and dear to my heart. He reviews diesel-powered cars. I think that's awesome. His name is Brian Grant. He's in Texas. And he sent me an email, and I thought it was a really interesting email. He had just gone to the LA Auto Show, so he did whatever you do at the LA Auto Show. But then while he was here, he was efficient with his time, and he took 2 loans on 2 Toyotas with a logic of, let me review these cars in LA. Basically can't get them in Texas, or at least I assume he couldn't get them in Texas. But now he's back in Texas, and I don't know if he's shot video and he's trying to edit the video or if it's a written review, but he's feeling that these 2 cars are more trouble than they're worth. And I really had to have a think on this because this question could apply to anything. I don't care if you're reviewing cars, you want to be a pilot, you want to be a professional athlete, or you want to be a thoracic surgeon. The same kind of logic applies. At the end of the day, no matter what your dream job is, there is going to be shit work. And that's basically the reality of life. There's always going to be something you're not going to want to do. I don't care if you're me, or if you are Brad Pitt, or if you are an actuary working at an insurance company. There's going to be work that you don't want to do. Like, for example, when I started this, I thought it was all about driving cars and basically telling you guys stories. But I quickly realized it's editing. And I don't know if you know this, but a little bit behind the scenes here, I do the majority of editing on the show, actually all of the editing on the show. I have done the editing for the past 6 years. Basically leaves me no time for anything in life. The only thing I do outside of this is run. And as you know, I do travel a lot, but that's really part of what I do. And do I hate editing? No, I just don't like it because there's so much of it. It's like the U.S. Postal Service, the mail never stops. Would I like editing if I went down to South Africa and I hooked up with, you know that guy Kevin Richardson? If I went down there, the guy literally, his job is to walk with lions. Granted, more than that, but what we see on YouTube is the guy literally goes for walks every day with 500-pound cats. I would love to be able to shoot a documentary and then be able to take a year to edit that and get the color and the audio and the music just right and aerial footage and all that kind of stuff. But the reality of my life is that's not the case. I have to do the monotonous work of editing, and it has to produce 3 episodes a week. Actually, coming in Season 7, 4 episodes a week. But that's just... Basically, there's no nice way to say this, Brian. Your New Year's resolution, my friend, is you are going to have to work harder, even in instances where these Toyota episodes are not going to make money for you. Like, for example, not every one of my episodes make money. I don't know if you are aware of this, but I love classic cars, and I would love to shoot more classic cars here on the show, but the reality of the situation is no one watches them. If you look at them as a percentage of overall views, they are like, if this is new car views on YouTube, this is, actually really any online platform. Here's new cars, classic cars are here, and race cars are down here. So if I shoot a classic car, chances are I'm shooting that classic car because I absolutely positively love that car, and that's why I'm doing it. But Brian, again, to your question, it's because if you're trying to create something, you can't apply the logic of, oh, how much money am I going to make on this one? You have to look at the overall project. At the end of the day, your success or failure in your chosen field has everything to do with how much work you're going to put in or will put in rather than your talent or your luck. If I'm putting this on like a percentage basis, perhaps maybe 10% or less has to do with talent or luck. Hopefully, I haven't been unclear on the answer to this question, and you do take this as you look back on your life and perhaps reflect on where you came from or where you're going, and I genuinely do want you guys to use this episode as a reference tool in a couple of months or even in a couple of years. Now with that, let's turn to Season 7 of our show, and I wanted to give you guys a little glimpse from the future. Like, for example, where I'm sitting right now is from the future of our show. We're doing some changes. So this is our last episode for Season 6. As I shared with you, we're going to take a bit of a break, and we're going to come back in around mid-January with a totally new season, and we're changing the lineup. So instead of just giving you first drive reviews, tech reviews, and the occasional Ask MotoMan, what we're going to do is give you a couple of different episodes each week. So we're going to do either a tech review or a first drive review. We're going to do an Ask MotoMan. And then we're going to bring back a show, do you remember, Inside the MotoMan Studio. That was our show that we did at the Peterson. Well, now we since have moved to a real TV studio, which is where I'm going to be doing most of the Ask MotoMans as well as our Inside the MotoMan Studio series. And basically, we're going to pick up our conversations with the people who are shaping the car world. And this isn't just OEMs. It could be race car drivers. It could be people in the music world that happen to be car guys that you and I know. Like, for example, we just shot this morning with Tanner Faust, and I know you guys know a lot about him, and you probably know his history from the drifting world into rally and rallycross, and, of course, X Games and stunt driving. But I promise you, that is maybe 10% of this man's life, and even I am blown away by what I learned today. So make sure you come back for that. And we're going to be doing these once a week, and we're doing it in a bit of a special way, so I'm very excited to share that with you guys. And now I know I've beaten you guys over the head over the past couple episodes about downloading our mobile app, and it will impact your viewing of our show in Season 7. Well, let's just say this Inside the MotoMan Studio thing, it will have something to do with that mobile app as well. And then we're going to bring back our mini-series. If you saw, you joined us for a 7-week mini-series where we drove a Mini literally 2,000 miles, and we visited everything from a car factory to a train museum. I pet, like we were just talking about Kevin Richardson. Well, I got one up on Kevin Richardson because I got to pet a real live leopard in, of all places, North Carolina. Like, I think it was 50 miles. We were literally on a NASCAR track, and then 2 hours later, I was petting a leopard. I mean, that's a good day at the office. So we're going to bring back the mini-series, but the mini-series I'm very excited about. The first one that's going to be in part of Season 7 is I went over to England, and I built a Bentley from start to finish. Like, no joke. It was a very humorous exchange with the folks at Bentley. I have been trying to do that for years. I mean, literally since the start of this show, I wanted to. If you remember, we did an episode where I built a Morgan from start to finish. I tried to get Bentley to do the same thing. They hung up on me and laughed at me. Well, finally, they started to take me seriously. And like, I tell you what, you can go over, but we can't guarantee that the people at the factory are going to agree to this. So why don't you go and see what they say? Well, long and short of the story, I turned up, and the guy who runs the factory says, I hear you're handy, gave me a wrench, and then started me out in the engine department. And we just go on from there. And literally, it's engines, I sew seats and steering wheels, I do body work, like weld pieces of the body together. Like, I can't believe and these are cars real people actually bought, so maybe we shouldn't air this because people won't want their Bentleys anymore. Anyway, you know what? We will air it, and you'll get to see it. And then we're going to try out some other surprises with you throughout Season 7. So I'm very excited to share this with you guys, and I just want to take an opportunity here to thank you for joining us for the past 7 years. I mean, I can't believe it was July 8th, of 2009 that we started this show, and here we are. We've been in, 2 car museums, now a real television studio. We're over 560 or 570 episodes later. We're live on cable. We're live on 5 international airlines. So I just want to take the opportunity to say a huge thank you to you guys for not only being a part of this, but all of the stuff that I get to do and you get to join us on, whether it's talking with a guy like Tanner or driving an Aston Martin or building a Bentley, or if, remember early on I got to pilot the Goodyear blimp. A huge thank you for making that all possible, because without you guys watching the show, sharing the show, or even discussing it with your friends, none of this would be possible. So from me and everybody here at MotoMan, a huge thank you. And with that, I want to turn this around to you guys and leave you with a question effectively of the year. And my question is really very simple. What was your favorite episode? Well, you know what? I was going to say Season 6, but what was your favorite episode up until this point of our show? And it could be from Season 1 all the way to Season 6. Let me know in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV all one word, MotoManTV all one word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I want to leave you with 2 things. Number 1, you really, really need to download our fancy new mobile app, which I promise will have something to do with Season 7, so make sure you download it now and start using it. You can download it for free at Apple iTunes or Google Play. It's funny, I'm holding an Apple product and sitting in a Google building. That's, there's definitely some poetry about technology in that. And then number 2, a fun fact, and this one I'm almost kind of embarrassed to share with you guys. So you probably know a little bit about my history in that I was in the technology world for many years. I worked for like Apple, and you might have heard Prodigy Internet, and then moved into the mobile internet. So when I first started the show, and even to today, I still very much have my contacts and friends from the technology world. And when I first started, I didn't at all want to put this show on YouTube. I was just, the concept of putting my hard work, as you can see, I put a lot of work into the production quality of the show. I felt it would have been wasted on YouTube. And I have a friend of mine from Chicago who's still in the technology world, great friend of mine. He basically called me, said, "You are a blankety-blank moron, and here is the name of a guy at YouTube. You call him, and you do whatever he says." Now, interesting, the guy's name was Andrew Bangs, and other than sounding like someone in the adult film industry, he happened to be the guy who ran the car vertical at YouTube, and he basically gave me a couple of pointers, and here we are 7 years later shooting in a YouTube Google television studio. So, there you go for a fun fact. Until I see you next year in our next season, bis später.